Thank you for coming to my channel. Starbright Storytime. Today's book is Mr. Right-Hand Man by Florence Schulz, illustrated by Art Wood. Early Saturday morning, Norman walked into the kitchen and sat down for breakfast. "Good morning, Norman," said his mother. "My, you are up bright and early, and you dressed yourself, too." "I am trying to find some important things to do," said Norman. "Look around, please," Mother said. "I need some help. I'm sure you can find something to do." Norman looked for important things to do. He emptied some waste baskets, put away some toys, and hung up some clothes. "You certainly helped me this morning," Mother said. "I had time to make this cherry pie." Then Norman went outside to the garage where his father was working. "Good morning, Norman," Father said. "Good morning," Norman said. "I am trying to find some important things to do." "Look around, please," Father said. "I need some help. I'm sure you can find something to do." Norman looked all around the garage and the yard. He put away a ball, raked some leaves, and swept the garage. "You certainly helped me this morning," Father said. "I had time to put the snow tires on the car." Later that morning, Norman saw Mr. Mulliner sweeping the steps of the church. Mr. Mulliner was the sexton, and Norman liked to talk to him. Norman called across the street, "Mr. Mulliner, may I help you?" "Yes, Norman," said Mr. Mulliner. "Ask your mother, and I'll help you cross the street." Soon, Mr. Mulliner was ready for the dustpan. Norman got it and held it so that Mr. Mulliner could sweep the dirt into it. "Easy does it," Mr. Mulliner said. Norman lifted the dustpan carefully so he would not spill a speck of dirt. "You're a good worker, Norman," Mr. Mulliner said. "You are my right-hand man. The work you do certainly is important." "The kind of important work I would like to do," Norman said, "is to be a riveter. He fastens together the steel parts of a skyscraper." Mr. Mulliner agreed that it was important to put a skyscraper together. He also thought that there were other important things to do. Norman wished he could do some of these other things. That night at bedtime, Norman looked at some pictures of a riveter. Suddenly he stopped. "I wonder what Mr. Mulliner was talking about when he said there are other important things to do. I must ask him tomorrow morning." Next morning, Norman quickly dressed himself and ate breakfast. He needed some extra time to talk to Mr. Mulliner. Suddenly, he saw Mr. Mulliner. His arm was in a sling. "Mother," Norman said, "I must help Mr. Mulliner. His arm is in a sling." So Norman hurried over to help Mr. Mulliner. "If I ever needed a right-hand man, I need one now," said Mr. Mulliner. "I hurt my arm. and have my Sunday morning jobs to finish before the people come." "I'll help you," said Norman. "Will you?" asked Mr. Mulliner. "Oh, yes," said Norman. Norman unlocked the secretary's cabinets and closets and drawers with Mr. Mulliner's big ring of keys. Next, Norman steered the big blackboard while Mr. Mulliner pushed with one hand. In the kindergarten, Norman helped Mr. Mulliner open the windows. When the people came to church, everything was ready for them. The secretary took attendance cards and gave them to the teachers in the classrooms. Mrs. Nesbit wrote on the big blackboard in her room. The kindergarten was just warm enough for the children. Just before Norman went into the kindergarten, Mr. Mulliner said, "Thank you very much, Mr. Right-Hand Man. You certainly have done some important work." And this time, Norman thought so too. Mr. Right-Hand Man by Florence Schulz, illustrated by Art Wood. United Church Press, Boston and Philadelphia. Copyright 1962, USA. Thank you for coming to my channel. I hope you enjoyed the story.